Well, well, well. This is bittersweet. Dee Dee took Rod to the cleaners, not once, but twice. And he was held in contempt. And she literally cleaned the floor with his big head. Now, I did go over this in my most recent live, but if you watched my previous video from yesterday, then you know I'm putting it in video format to cut it down to short and sweet for you guys. Let's get started with the divorce file for Rod and Dee Dee. So to summarize each page 1, this is just the docket history. It shows the electronic docket for the case, lists of the hearings, the minutes, and the actions. One notable entry, September 21st, 1995, trial on rule, where Rod was found in contempt and payment obligations were ordered. And it gets better. So Claudinia Petrie Blanchard versus Rod Joseph Blanchard. Page 2. This is just a filing cover letter from November 2nd, 1993. The attorney sends an original petition for divorce to the clerk of court, and he encloses $150 to cover the costs and asks for a stamped copy. Page 3 is a petition of the divorce, which Rod was the one that filed. Rod Joseph Blanchard states, the marriage occurred August 29th of 1990. There was one child born in the marriage, a minor daughter, Gypsy Rose. Both parties have voluntarily been living separate and apart for more than 6 months. Rod asks for a divorce plus joint custody with the minor child's primary residence with Rod, which was just the initial request. That doesn't mean that's what he got. Page 4 is a request for judgment. Rod asks the court to dissolve the marriage and award joint custody, with him having designated primary parent status, later changed by consent. Service requested by Claudinia to her address in Golden Meadow. Page 5 is the affidavit and sworn verification. Rod swears the facts in this petition are true, signed and notarized. Page 6 is a request for notice. Rod requests notice of all hearings, motions, judgments, and rulings made in this action. Page 7 is a supplemental court fee sheet, administrative sheet related to costs billed. It shows the amount due to the Judge Comp Fund. Page 8 and 9, service of petition, is a formal order directing sheriff to serve Claudinia Petrie Blanchard, and it shows a stamped service return that the service was completed November 12th of 1993. Page 10 is an attorney letter, motion for preliminary judgment, filed on January 20th of 1994. The attorney sends motion for a preliminary default to court because Claudinia failed to answer. Page 11 is a motion for preliminary judgment by default. Court notes service was made November 1993. Claudinia never replied. Therefore, Rod may obtain default judgment dissolving the marriage. It was signed January 31st, 1994. Page 12, consent judgment, the final divorce terms. Both parties now appear and consent. The marriage is dissolved. Joint custody, but Dee Dee is designated domiciliary parent. Rod gets reasonable visitation rights. The judgment is signed March 31st, 1994. Page 13, notification letter. Clerk sends notice that judgment is recorded. Page 14, this is a court data sheet showing that administrative divorce info sheet is filed by the state. Page 15, domestic return receipt notice. This is just a receipt of the judgment notification. Page 16, 17, and 18, judgment after trial on rule. This is September 21st, 1995, after the divorce. The court orders Rod to pay child support $100 a month starting October 1st, 1995. $100 a month. Pretty low, especially when your daughter is 4 years old and allegedly pretty sick. Rod is to pay medical, dental, pharmacy reimbursement of $2,970.33 for past due bills for Gypsy. Rod is held in contempt. Rod is guilty of contempt for prior failures. Due to this, Rod is sentenced to 10 days in jail, and it's suspended, and he's given 2-year probation. His probation conditions included paying the medical bills, paying alimony, providing address and phone number, paying arrears within 90 days. He also had to pay attorney fees of $200, past due alimony of $350, plus court costs of $200. This judgment was signed November 6, 1995. So what does this document prove? The divorce was officially dissolved March 31st, 1994. Gypsy remained with Dee Dee legally. Rod did owe support, fell behind, and was legally held in contempt, and the sentence was suspended. Alimony and medical reimbursements were ordered. No property or assets jointly acquired in this decree. So here's a summary. The divorce action was filed by Rod against Dee Dee. It was initially filed November 1993. One child was involved, which is Gypsy, born July 27th, 1991. The grounds for the divorce is living separate and apart for more than 6 months. Marriage existed only briefly. The outcome was joint custody, although Dee Dee was designated as the custodial parent. Child support was ordered in the amount of $100 a month to Rod beginning October 1st, 1995. Medical expenses were ordered to pay $2,970.33 in back medical, dental, and pharmacy costs. Alimony is $100 a month plus arrears of $350. There was also attorney fees for $200 ordered and no property to divide. Now, let's move on to the alimony judgment. This one's the more fun one. To be clear, this contains 2 different judgments. The original one from 1993, before the divorce, and in 1995, after Rod was being non-compliant still to the previous ruling. Page 1. The judgment, September 21st, 1995. Claudine versus Rod in the 17th Judicial District Court. The hearing occurred on September 21st, 1995. Attorneys for both Rod and Dee Dee were present. Alimony arrears owed in the amount of $350 from Rod to Claudinia for past due alimony within 90 days. Medical bill arrears owed from Rod in the amount of $830 within 90 days. Attorney fees from Rod must be paid in the amount of $200 for Dee Dee's attorney fees and all court costs. Rod is also ordered to pay permanent alimony in the amount of $100 a month beginning October 1st, 1995. Page 2. The continuation of orders. There are additional obligations. Medical expenses arrearage. Rod owes $2,970.23 for medical, dental, pharmacy reimbursements. Rod is found in contempt of court. He is sentenced to 10 days, and the sentence is suspended. He is placed on 2-year unsupervised probation. The conditions include must pay current child support, must pay all medical bills as they come due, must pay alimony as ordered, must give Dee Dee his current physical address, mailing address, and phone number and updates. Must pay arrears, the $350 plus the $830, within 90 days. Must pay the $200 attorney fees. Judgment is to be merged with prior judgment, so all prior orders remain enforceable. Page 3 just shows who signed, but also this page shows that Rod did not actually go to jail. The sentence became conditional due to the sentence being suspended. The filing date shows November 6th, 1995. Page 4. This is before the official divorce decree. It shows the earliest monetary court order, which was $250 per month for child support, which was pre-temporary, medical bills, which was $5,210.89 in past due medical bills, alimony, which was $1,300 in past due alimony, which means Rod wasn't paying at all, because if it's $100 a month, that's 13 months of payments he didn't make. And Dee Dee was also given exclusive use of the car. This is the funny one. Dee Dee receives exclusive possession of the family automobile. This just means that she gets the vehicle to use during the proceedings and until judgment is given on this matter. So the vehicle is only temporary, and it wasn't ownership. This proves that Dee Dee was already taking Rod to court for money and medical costs before the divorce was finalized. Page 5. Court continues. Rod is found in contempt of court again. Contempt sentence suspended if he keeps current with this order. He is responsible for all court costs. The judge signed the order February 12th, 1993 originally. So what this document means is that the court concluded he failed to pay what he owed more than once. He was held in contempt at least twice in 1993 and 95. Jail was ordered but never enforced because of payment and probation terms suspended it. And it also shows that Rod was ordered to pay alimony and child support and medical bills. So this document supports the fact that court intervention occurred more than once and payment problems occurred more than once. The funny thing is Rod still didn't really keep up on his payments. Because if you recall, he did an interview, I believe it was the first documentary. He was saying how his payments were over $1,000 a month, and he was still paying after Gypsy was 18. Well, yeah, there's going to be arrears if you still owe back support. To me, that's motive for Rod, if there is one. Motive for wanting Dee Dee out of the way, because she was going to keep taking him back to court for the simple fact that he was not paying what he needed to be paying. If his payments were over $1,000 a month, that's because he still was refusing to pay. That's all I have for this video. If you found it informative, please go ahead and give it a like. Drop your thoughts below in the comments. And if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Have a great day. See you guys in the next one.